Hey everybody, back with another video. This is going to be a Super Pac-Man, hopefully quick. I don't know how quick it's going to be, but quick background. I had the pleasure of hanging out over the summer with some fellow arcade nerds at the Crater Cade, and met that Tim guy, met Dell from Delusional's Arcade, a bunch of other people, Jeff Kinder from Dragon's Lair forums, as well as on Claw and has a YouTube channel as well, I think, and I will link to all those. But anyway, while I was down there, Dell had given me a few, I think 3 different Super Pac-Man boards just to take a look at and see if I could do something with them, and this is going to be the first one. So let's power it up. And I already had a harness because I've already repaired a couple of Super Pac-Man boards, so let's see what we get here. RAM 7. There we go, you can see that RAM 7 error. Alright, so let me break out the manual and see what that is. I believe most of the RAM is over on the video board over here. Yeah, we have these RAM right here. Man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch my own video. Let's see what's going on. Proms, a couple of color proms. I remember doing a video and I think I had a color prom issue, didn't I? This is kind of interesting. Looks like there's a little capacitor actually on this 2B. I hadn't seen that before. The other thing is, look how bowed this board is. Like, this top board is super bowed. I have the standoffs on this one, so that you'll see that a lot on these Super Pac-Man boards, these midway boards. They will get warped and stuff over time, but I don't think that's the issue, but you never know. Alright, come right back. Okay, replaced the RAM, powered it on, it didn't work. Let's see, now it's working obviously because I already fixed it, so I got to check the right line, it was toggling. Check the chip select, it was toggling when it was supposed to. Went back to 4B, removed 4B, and I think pin 1 was jacked up. Straighten the legs, put pin 1 back in 4B, and now it seems to be working. I hit my slam switch. I think the slam is the test. RAM OK, ROM OK, IO OK, table, 1 credit, 3 Pac-Mans, rank 8, blah blah blah. Coin it up. And start a game. Yeah, everything works. I'm gonna check the dip switches and stuff like that, and I think I need to wire up coin 1 and coin 2 because I don't have those wired up, so let me check that. I checked all the dip switches, all of them are working, and let's hold. It's gonna be hard for me to do this. How am I gonna do this? You can hold the. I don't have a test switch, so I have to hold the slam switch. The slam switch is the test switch, but I don't have a switch wired up to it. So I would need to grab my controller while holding it. Oh crap. Let's try this way. Yeah, so this board set seems to be working, and literally I didn't even have to replace the RAM at 2D. It was actually the 4B custom, which had a leg that was not in the socket, so I should have more closely inspected the board, but there probably was nothing wrong with this board, honestly, except for this 4B. Alright, on to the next one. Second board set. This is Dell's from Delusional Arcade. Says has some coinage issues or start issues or something. So let's go ahead and power it on. Looks like it's okay. Ooh. I don't like the way the speaker sounds. Yeah, listen to that. Might need some new caps in that audio section. Or the amp or something. Rank 8, Pac-Man 3. Dip switches. It says table. Let me slide that down. Did my other one say table? Interesting. I have to go back and look. Okay, I figured out my wiring it up for cocktail mode, grounding pin 15 here, and I actually have that wired up to ground. I don't even know why I did that originally when I set up the harness. And I don't have like player 2 controls or the coin 1 and 2 wired up, but let's power this on here. Yeah, the audio does not sound 100% right, which is weird. These are the main audio parts right here. I'm pretty sure. This CPU, this PAL, this custom, maybe 1N. Yeah, it's got to be this area here is the sound area. And it sounds a little weird. But the other thing I did is I wired this up so I could actually easily go into test mode. But, excuse me. So I could easily go into test mode. I wired this up so I could ground it, and that way the slam switch is grounded, which is also test mode. And you can see it says upright. And if I put my connector in here, it says table, upright. Table, upright. Alright, and if I press the buttons, listen to the sound. Very scratchy. Hear that static? That's weird. But the controls seem to be working correctly. If I hit the service button just one time. So now let's boot up. And what was reported is it says it has some coinage issues or start issues. So if I coin up or press the service button, you can hear that it activates. It sounds like it's activating like 3 times. See? I press it one time. Whoops. Press it one time. Which is weird, right? And it starts a game right away. That's bizarre. I don't know exactly what's going on there. It shouldn't start a game right away. So, what did I do? I grounded my test switch. Like that. And if you go into test and hit my service switch, it's only activating one time. And I don't know what pin number is that. Let me figure that out again. That's 4F pin 41. I can't do this with one hand. Alright, I just wired up the logic probe. So watch, if I press it one time, so it's only activating one time, but it's actually registering, the audio is registering like multiple times. But why does it actually just start a game? Let's see what happens with regular game code. What happens? Alright, so now I'm going to press the service switch one time. And it actually starts a game as well. So it's like creding it up and starting a game, which is weird. Why would it be doing that? It's only registering one, but the data is being interpreted differently. So I know that the data is getting to this custom chip fine, but then coming out of the custom chip is the problem. That's what it sounds like to me. Just, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. I'm kind of messing around, and I saw this little capacitor here on, I think, pin 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pin 7 and 8. And it's just a little capacitor between pin 7 and 8 of 3F, and listen to the difference it makes in the sound. I don't know what that is. That must have been a factory thing. But I desoldered it for a split second. But it definitely is something on the noise circuit line. It's like 3F. I might come back to that. That's not our problem though. Once you coin up, I mean, it just starts playing games like all the time. Like it's just keeps starting games over and over and over again. And I don't get it. I've been probing, found some errors in the schematics, checking, the capacitors, the input capacitors, the input resistors, going to the two customs. These are your IOs, so you would get some IO errors if these were bad. The only thing I can think of is there's something on the data bus that's causing it to do this. Once you actually coin up, boom, it's interpreting something on the data bus. So it could be RAM, but we don't get any RAM errors. So alright, I've been kind of experimenting for a few hours actually, on and off. But I have it in test mode, and one thing I noticed is normally if I have cocktail mode enabled with pin 15 and I hit a start button, it'll flip sides, but it will flip it back. Like it's actually frozen now. I'm pressing it and it's frozen. I can't even hit any other button. Okay, well I can't hit. Oh my god, that sounds terrible. But I can't flip it back at all. Forgive this noise there and camera movement. Alright, so I'm going to coin up. You get the weirdness, right? So, anyway, I've been measuring stuff, and I figured the RAM at 2114 is shared. That the outputs from here go to the 2114. You know, you have your inputs and stuff. I might show it on the schematic. So on a whim, I just replaced this 2114 RAM and it works. Let me show you that. Alright, so now I have different 2114. I actually had a question mark by it because I wasn't sure if it worked from a previous thing. Now it works. Pressing the service switch, single coin up. No game is starting or anything. But in test mode, it showed that the RAM was good. I mean, was it not testing all of the RAM? All of this 2114? I don't know. It's kind of weird. But it shows the RAM is being good. And now watch with my, see how it start when I hit the player 1 start in cocktail mode, it will flip orientation there. Same with player 2. So it seems like my problem was RAM, and it was passing self-test, and I was kind of just, I had swapped out the customs with the working board and stuff, so I verified all the customs. I checked all of the resistor packs, and I tried to check the capacitors and all that stuff best I could, and everything looked fine. So I also checked these multiplexers here at 3E and 4E, and nothing was jumping out at me, and I was like, well, actually let me show on the screen here. Yeah, so I was just looking at the inputs here and, you know, queuing off of the fact that the cocktail was getting weird. That comes into 4C. All of your dip switch and the cocktail setting and your test switch comes into 4C. And the outputs of 4C and the outputs of 4F are combined together and then feed into the custom at 4B, which goes to the outputs to 2D, but some of the outputs also come up to 3E, the multiplexer. That's why I checked that, and that also is addressing the RAM as well. So it's, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. That, well, it is a, let me think about this. No, because this has to be addressed, you know, when they're doing the RAM test. I wonder if some of this address line 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe those are floating high or something. Maybe I'll check that real quick. Yeah, it was just the RAM. I'm going to go ahead and I messed with it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Certain pins are low all the time. Pin 2 for the dressing, 3, 4, 5, 6 is toggling, and then 7's low, so I didn't notice anything there. For the sound though, it's definitely this chip at 3F. Watch. If I put my finger on that capacitor, that's just a noisy. I'm going to replace that damn chip. It's a 74 LS 257 3F. I mean, sounds perfect. Watch this. We're going to boot up. See, listen. Oh, I guess it sounds like crap, actually. I don't know if it's the amp or that chip or something's making that sound terrible, but at least the coin up is working. And that was just RAM. Crazy. Yeah, the RAM tests fine in my tester. It's if you can see that, let's see, it's a AM9114B PC. I looked that up, and the B on the chip means it's 450 nanoseconds, and that might be too slow. I don't know what was in there before. This RAM here is working fine. I don't have any 450 nanosecond 2114s, but this is a 350 or 300 nanosecond access time 2114. It's a TMM314A P3. That's like a 300 nanosecond. I'm gonna try it real quick just to see, but I bet it's the access time. It's just too slow. Yeah, the 300 nanosecond works fine. See that? Doesn't start a game automatically. I don't know what's going on. It does not like that 450 nanosecond or this type of RAM. Right there. That's bad. Let me come back and I'll just leave the RAM that I placed in there fine. It's 300 nanoseconds. Seems to be working fine. And fix this audio. I don't know what's going on with that audio issue. Alright, I replaced the caps and it sounded a little bit better, but now I'm getting the static, right? And watch. I don't know what. This 3F is actually part of what's tied together is pin 7 to ground with the capacitor. Excuse me, and that's address line 20, which is buffered. It's on this multiplexer, I guess. I think that's a multiplexer, LS257, I think so, or something. But it's multiplexing the main address lines and the sound address lines to the sound ramp, 3K and 3L. That's just so weird, right? I mean, it's completely quiet now. There's definitely noise somewhere in here, and there's a difference between these two boards. Let me turn the volume down. This board is a version D, and I think of the CPU board, and like here's my board, which is version F. D, E, I don't know if there was a version E, but my version F does not have that on there. And this is of the CPU board, version F. So very interesting. What's going on? What's different about how they laid the wires out or something? I mean, the traces that's causing that wicked noise. And it just goes away with that capacitor. I'm going to try replacing this capacitor and seeing if that helps. Or maybe if I try just clipping on another capacitor real quick and see. I haven't even clipped anything on. I was just getting ready to clip something on here, and look, just by putting something on that makes the noise go away. Oh my god. What is... Let me start the game. So now it sounds pretty good. To me, it's definitely this capacitor there. I took off the capacitor, and it's definitely way worse. I mean, it just sounds like garbage. Listen to that. That's what it sounds like without the capacitor on there. So bad. I tried different capacitors, and it was actually shorting that line out. So I had to look real close. This is a 470K or 47 picofarads, I think, or something like that. 470K, 47 picofarad cap, and I don't have any of those to actually replace it, and I don't even know if it's bad. It does sound better. There's a little bit of background noise in the system, but definitely better than what it was just by resoldering it. Not sure if that made a difference. Yeah. Wait, that's so weird. There's definitely some noise on that line. I don't understand it well enough. Somebody with a good electrical engineering can kind of probably figure that out, but it's kind of interesting on these boards. And I have another board set that has the same thing, has a color code. That's how I looked up the capacitor value. I'm going to look at that board next. Anyway, this one is working as well as I can get it to work, because that audio, so you can hear it getting louder now. Very weird. Alright, on to board number 3 with the odd noise on this one. But Dell, the issue with your coin up is the RAM was probably too slow at 2D, and I can't really do anything about this noise filtering issue. It's kind of weird, unless this get another 47 picofarad cap and solder on there. Okay, this is board set number 3 from, this one's from Dell at Delusional's Arcade, and it says here it's working, but the fire buttons are not working. And one thing I wanted to look at, well, this is because it has at 3F, it has that little 47 picofarad cap there. This is, I checked on the bottom, this is a revision D as in David CPU board. So I'm not going to flip it back over because it's a pain in the butt. Oh, and actually, I don't need to. It says it right there. D316 versus F316 is the one that I have. But yeah, I might have some D revisions as well. Here, the volume pot is a little bit different. I don't know if it was replaced or not. I noticed that. The other thing I wanted to look at is what's the speed of this RAM here. Can you, oh boy, let me turn off that light. So it's upside down, but it is a, right there, it is 9114E. So I think the RAM we had that was too slow was what, B? So I'm going to go back and look up that again and see if E, what speed E is. Actually, yeah, very interesting. E is 200 nanoseconds. So I might go back and put a 200 nanosecond RAM, access RAM, in the other board, in Jeff's board. No, in Dell's board. Because if it's originally, this one has never been removed. Originally, it's supposed to be 200 nanoseconds, or at least that's what they had in there. Even though the 300 nanosecond one seems to be working fine. Alright, let's power this thing on, see what it does. Looks like it's booting. Okay, we got a RAM error. Says it was working. RAM 6. That's interesting. Let me check that real quick. Okay, RAM 5, that's 3K and 3L. 5 and 6 are these two right here, which are the sound RAM, I think. And it looks like I'm getting a consistent error. I swapped them, and I keep getting RAM 5, even though I swapped the RAM. So let me try a different 2148, but I doubt it's the RAM, and we can test these in my Neolock here real quick. Alright, I've been messing around and not filming stuff, but I pulled these RAM, test them in the Neolock, and they test fine. I tried other 2148s, no change. I looked at, I think, the customs. I might have swapped out the custom and the CPU just to make sure, as well as this PAL right here at 1M. None of that made a difference, and I just did that because I have a spare board. So let's see here. Let me back up and figure out where I'm at. Power it up. RAM 5. And if we come to the enable pin, that's what I'm getting on the enable, which doesn't seem right. Just toggling like that. And I think that enable comes from the sound CPU through the PAL, then it gets merged. Let me see actually. Where's that enable at? Okay, there's 3K right there. And the enable is coming from 4J. I actually put a comparator on that and it looks fine. So, you know, the enable is, well, that's the chip enable. Whatever pin 10 is, right enable or something, some other enable. So that's pin 10, but it comes from this SRAM right, as well as pin 7 from this custom. And pin 7 from this custom is just like beeping. Boop, 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 boop. I don't know if it's because it's watchdogging. Maybe the CPU's watchdogging or something. And maybe that's why it's doing that. Not sure. But this definitely toggles SRAM right, which is comes from the PAL chip right here. I know you can barely see that, but it's pin 17, I think. Yeah, 16, 17. Pin 17. So if I go pin 17, right here on this PAL, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, that's 20. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Alright, and how am I going to do this with one hand? Crap. Alright, there we go. Pin 17, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And we'll reset it. Okay, that was weird. Yeah, you saw it kind of beep like it was trying to read the RAM, and there obviously it wasn't able to do so. And I don't know why. What is it, pin 7 on this thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think that's normal, but I replaced this custom. I wonder if this is resetting. Anyway, I don't even think these are being enabled correctly, or I'm not confident these are being enabled correctly. And these RAM were replaced, and I might need to ohm out the lines because whoever replaced it, they might have screwed up a trace or something. Who knows? Interesting. All right, I don't know if I hit the reset button. The sound CPU is in reset. And that should get sent a reset signal from this, but maybe it's because the main CPU can't read the RAM yet, and we're failing in the test. So therefore, it's not even sending that signal to reset the sound CPU. Not sure. All right, I think I'm sparing you guys some steps. So I actually broke out my FPGA Catbox and then took out the custom at 3N and ran memory tests to the address space for 3K and 3L, and it failed, and I checked the enable line and it was toggling like it should be when I was, you know, taking out this other sound enable and stuff. Like, I was just plugged the FPGA Catbox into my main CPU, took out this custom for the sound because it's getting multiplexed. You know, these RAM are being addressed by the sound CPU as well as the main CPU. So took that away, and I still couldn't read and write to this memory correctly, but the enable was working correctly. So then I was going to do address signature analysis on the address bus, but I instead just removed these RAM, ohmed out the lines. They all looked good. The data lines looked like they were getting to the same spot, but pin number 2 was not getting to the multiplexer at 3H pin 4. So put it in a jumper. Long story short, quick summary. Because the enable was freaking me out, but it was just kind of the the behavior of the test code, where this CPU was staying in reset, and then this thing was just, beep, 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 like that from this custom. So the enable didn't look right, but that's because it was failing to actually get through the memory check from the main CPU. So now it's booting into the screen, and I can't get any further. Even if I change the dip switches, which should change something on the screen, I'm getting no changes at all on the dip switches. It's not recognizing any dip switch when I make a change. Actually, let me do that and then reset. I just changed the coinage, I think. Yeah, see, it's not even reading 1 coin, 1 credit. It doesn't even know how to interpret the dip switches. That's weird, but yet it says RAM okay, ROM okay, and the IO is okay. So what's going on? What's going on there? Maybe I do need to use the FPGA Catbox after all. One of the things I was doing is just a quick check on the control inputs. Is every line should be high basically if it's not activated. So you can see that one's low because I have the cocktail plugged in. I think that is let's see here. Let's see if I can hit the button. Yeah, see, that's my fire button. Sorry, I should have it on a tripod. So those are looking good, and then I check all of these. They're all high. Those are going to the IO chips here. So it doesn't seem like anything is shorted at all. I don't know why it's not going past the screen or actually displaying the right stuff there. So could be the program ROMs. I'm going to actually, probably swap out a couple chips, but it should be progressing past the screen, and it's not. Alright, I hooked up the FPGA Catbox 6809, plugged it into my main CPU. I did ground the watchdog, but I don't think I really needed to. I took out the custom at 3N so I can test all the memory. Let me power on. Sorry about that. Alright. And now we're getting a bunch of failures here. I'm only testing 3K right there. Repeat. Yeah, getting a whole bunch of failures. Oh, there, I got a couple passes, which is weird. Alright, let me stop that. And then if I because right now with this CPU, the data buffer, there's a buffer 2F, I think, that is basically, is it a bidirectional buffer here? Here's your sound data bus, comes back, so you have your buffered sound data bus right here, and then you have this, see, yeah, it has to have a direction coming to and from, going through to the main CPU bus. So if the main CPU is addressing it and getting data from that RAM, it's got to go through this 2F, and this sound signal is what's enabling that. So if I take, what generates that sound signal? I don't know. If I take out this CPU though, I guess that sound signal is probably not working. It says sound 2 there. The sound, that's being created by the PAL at 2B, that sound signal. And then that's what's enabling and disabling this 2F. Or maybe the CPU is just putting junk on there. I don't know. If I take out this CPU though, the sound CPU, let's see what we get. Alright, sound CPU's out. Come over here, rerun our test. Clear results. Yeah, we get 100% pass. If I come over to that 2F, pin 1, yeah, so the sound, the pin 19, is still being enabled, so that's not the problem. It's just that something's going on the data bus here. I'm gonna have to look into this a little bit. What is that? I see something there I don't like. Anyway, it does look like I got one fail, but that might have been me probing around. Alright, I put in a different sound CPU and I'm still getting good results, so I'm wondering if I have a bad CPU here. I'm not sure. I might want to test these CPUs on my working board and test. I'm going to test all these chips on my working board and make sure and put a little checkbox by them, so I'm not jumping around trying to figure out 5 different things. Alright, all of these chips from the non-working board in my working board, and it works fine. I mean, yeah, everything looks fine. So we got something else going on that board. Wacky. Okay, it's the next day. I've been probing around a little bit, but non-working board with all the working chips, I put little check marks by them because I know all of these chips work correctly. Let's go ahead and power on. And we're consistently getting a ROM 3 error. And ROM 3 is 1K. I don't know if I mentioned that yet in the video. And it has, you know, it's direct from the CPU to this ROM. So if it can't read this, there's not really much in between here and this ROM, except for that other things could be on the bus at the same time, and that's controlled by 2K. So I was looking at, I think the read-write pin. What's pin 19? pin 19 is the enable, and it's high right now. And pin 1 is the direction, and it's floating. It's not registering anything. That is pin 1, the direction is controlled by the read-write line here, which is pin 32. So that's 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32. And it's floating. Why? I don't think that should be normal. 39, 38, no, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. Look, why is that floating? I wonder if I have a bad socket here. I think that's our problem, because when I'm booting up and I have my probe here, this read-write, the direction on this buffer here doesn't change, and there's a good chance that data is coming through and screwing up reading this ROM somehow. And it's not impacting when the main CPU reads the RAM, because that's being controlled by 2F, and that's on the main address bus, and the multiplexers are working correctly there. But when this ROM tries to read this, how's that even working? I don't even know how. I have to think about that. How's the sound CPU as part of the startup code reading this ROM? This CPU definitely cannot read that ROM, but somehow it's enabling the sound to read this and then get the data back. I don't know. I think something's going on with that read-write pin. There could be a bad socket here, or we got something going on with this chip right here, because there literally is almost nothing to the circuit. Yeah, you have the 6809, the read-write line comes to the PAL. Each CPU has its own PAL and ROM, basically, that generates different signals. It's like an address decoder, this PAL, like generating read-write lines and enables and stuff. So you have this PAL that's creating sound 2. Sound 2 is the enable. The read-write line comes to this direction, and it's floating, so who knows. Actually, did I just ping that? Like, data could be flowing on this data bus coming from this buffered sound data bus, and it needs to be probably not enabled, or not, the direction needs to be going this way or something when it's actually reading this here. Well, that would go on the data bus and then flow on the buffered sound data bus. How would that get back over to... I wonder if it reads it from memory. I'm just thinking out loud here, but basically the test ROM might actually have the addressing of the sound ROM be put into RAM and then read out of RAM back into the CPU, the main CPU over here, 1A. Otherwise, how the hell would the main CPU even get the data back from the sound ROM to know if it's good or not? Yeah, that has to be what's happening there. So anyway, I still think it's this read-write line shouldn't be floating like that. I might check on another board, I'm not sure. Alright, I got only a few minutes left, but I was able to reseat these things, and now I'm getting the read-write line to toggle like crazy. But what's interesting is pin 1 of this 1M, I can't get anything on it. Seems like it's floating. That's 6M, and basically I get RAM okay, ROM okay, IO okay, but can't get past that. So I'm thinking these sockets, I tried cleaning the chip legs of this thing. I think the sockets probably need to be replaced or something. This is my best guess. Something's going on. I gotta find out where this signal is. I think it's 6M, so it's probably some type of clock signal. And I can't, yeah, I'm pressing pretty hard on it. I can't get anything. So weird. Yep. Sitting there, no 6Ms from wherever that's coming from. Alright, it's 6MB. It's the same signal on both of these PAL chips, and it comes from this 3A right here. Look at that. I don't even know what that is. It's not beeping at all. Is it too fast? That's not right. I can't get my logic probe on this thing because of this damn resistors in the way, which kind of sucks. Not logic probe, my logic comparator. So I guess I could look at it on a scope real quick. Interesting, could be a red herring. Put it on the scope. Should be 6 megahertz, and it is 6.13. So my logic probe, maybe it's just too fast. 6 megahertz for it to transition, and it doesn't even pick it up here. But my scope looks good on the PAL chip. So that signal's good, even though my logic probe wasn't beeping any transitions or anything, or reading a high or a low. Just interesting for that signal. So that's not our issue. I don't know why we're just stuck at the test screen. So I'm gonna have to do some research there. Again, I probably should just replace the sockets, but yeah, I want to make sure that this is what I think it is. Still stuck in that test mode screen. And if I changed up my logic probe to my HP 10525T, and if I probe that 6MB, obviously you can see that it's toggling. We weren't able to see that except for on the oscilloscope there, with the other logic probe. And so then I was just probing the 6809 pins, and pin 1's ground, then that's high. I don't know off the top of my head what all these pins are, but it's high, low, high, high, and that's floating. That's pin number 4. These are now address lines. I'm just looking to see, make sure that all the address lines have some activity. Address, 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 data, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know what the rest of these are, but I think this is the reset. It's high, low, high. See, just pin 4, I can't get a reading on right there. I'm coming from the side, but if I go all the way down into the socket, look, it's high. This thing is not making good contact with that socket. So I'm going to fix that real quick and see if we can get this going. I just stuck a capacitor leg into number 4 and then put the chip back in. Oh, I hear something. Oh, now I got ROM 3. Oh, is that maybe because of something else? Oh boy, where's my little logic probe at? Now I get ROM 3. Yeah, but now pin 4 is high. Okay, why am I getting ROM 3 now? Oh yeah, look, now I have nothing on, what was my original pin that I had a problem on? I might need to do the same thing for that socket pin right there. Alright, I ended up replacing that socket, but no joy. I'm past the ROM 3 error again, but it's just getting stuck at the test screen. And my signals are looking good. There's 4, yeah. I mean, $32, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Yeah, that's the read-write line. I mean, the socket's good. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know why it's getting stuck there. Won't proceed. All right. Thinking about and looking at this a little bit more. I was reading the theory of operations a little bit, trying to get some clues, and just thinking about where it's getting stuck at. So it's getting stuck basically where it's just about to read what the dip switches are. So you say, it says RAM okay, ROM okay, IO okay, and then boop, I don't know what the sound is, maybe the sound getting enabled, but it's not displaying any of the dip switch readings. And that just made me think that maybe I should start thinking about, you know, the dip switches. Obviously they come into resistor packs, they get multiplexed by this 4E. Some of it goes directly into RAM over here, I think at 2D. Some of it goes into, no, I think it's this custom here at 4C. And then, you know, one of the lines I think comes into this thing, but we know the customs are good. For it to get multiplexed, I think, into RAM, that is at this 3E right here. And I just was, you know, probing around. Pin 1, I think, is like either the select or strobe or something. I'm not sure. But that's toggling, toggling. Ground. That pin 9's high. And then we got a floater right there. Another floater. That's high. Floater. Pin 15 is toggling, which on the schematic it says that's supposed to be grounded, but maybe it's pin 16 that's grounded. No, pin 16 is high. When I look at the schematic, 3E, it says pin 15 is grounded, which doesn't, that thing was toggling, so I don't know if that's right. I'll have to look up what an LS157 is. But anyway, the fact that pins 14 and 13 are floating, those are both 4A and 4B, and pins 10 and 11 are floating, that's, it kind of, I don't know, I almost want to compare it to something or put my comparator on it, but it seems like this chip 3E is not right. Obviously I could look at the outputs there, but why would this one be floating and something coming from the buffered main address be floating? That doesn't make sense. It's like almost like something's going on with this chip. That's my best thought. Alright, scratch that. I was looking at the wrong chip. That's 3F, which is a 257. Threw me off. It's 3E, which is a 157. That's why that strobe line is grounded. I looked at it with the probe, but I'll look at it. What am I looking at? 3E? Oops. Oh. Helps if I put my thing on right. Yeah, we got, looks fine. Oh, with the comparator, so, and I looked at it with the logic probe, so. I don't know why this thing's frozen. So maybe we found something. It's frozen. I was messing with the dip switches. I was like, all right, let me start seeing what the signals are coming from the dip switch to this. And I just probed 2021. If I hold down 21, the damn thing's booting. Will it do the same thing if I do 22? Yep. Wow, what's going on there? If I probe any of these pins, it just starts working. What the hell? It literally is. Alright, so we're onto something here. I gotta figure out what that is, but it's like completely frozen now. So I need to see what is. It's probably not the socket, so maybe it is one of these resistor packs or something going on. And why would probing it actually make it run? Check this out. Is it working again? Yep. See, it's running. The damn game's working. Just by probing it. If I take off my probe, it stops working. Alright, I think we found our problem. I'm not sure if I can do this. How am I going to do this with you guys seeing it? Can you see that? Yeah, I think so. Alright, I'm probing the resistor pack. And each one of those should be 4.7K. It's like 13 million ohms. So that resistor pack looks jacked up. Let me see what this one is. Yeah, there we go. 4.4. Oh, that's weird. Am I measuring them wrong? Let me see. Yeah, that resistor pack is jacked up. If I don't know about resistor pack number 2, but if I come to resistor pack number 3, you get 4.7K, if you can see that. About 4.5, 4.6. And we definitely do not get that on this one. 13.52, which you can't see because my hand's in the damn way. Whatever. You're gonna have to trust me. This resistor pack over here by this dip switch is jacked up, and that's causing this to probably not be pulled low, or hold on. Is it being pulled? What the hell is happening to it? I don't know. If I probe it, see, it changes it, so I don't know what it's reading. I guess I could put some voltage on it. Let me measure voltage. Let me see what these pins read. Yeah, it's pulling all of these pins low. All the inputs from the dip switches are low. And I bet they're supposed to be high. Yeah. Assuming it's the same on the other one. Alright, resistor pack. Gotta figure that out. Alright, so I don't even know where I left off, but basically I replaced these 4700 resistor packs. Now they do come with hopefully you guys can see that okay. They do come with these are 10 pin. The original are 9 pin, but it was kind of nice that they actually silk screen a 10-pin locations on there, and the last pin's just not used or connected to anything. The easiest way that we could have checked this, obviously, the reason it was freezing is because pin 8 on this dip switch here is actually the freeze screen, and so it was activated all the time, and I think that pin 8 goes to pin 29 over here. So one way you can test this is just to measure the resistance. I don't know, can you guys see that okay? Yeah. Is just come to pin 21 and go to plus 5 volts, and we should have 4700. 4.6K, right? And then 4.6K, 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 and we weren't getting that before. We were getting like some crazy numbers. All right, this is the last one right there. And then if I hit pin 8 and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think. Now my eyes are failing me. You can see see how it's going down to 0? But if I flip it back, there it is at 4.7K. So that's why it was actually freezing. So wacky. And it would have been easier for me to check it, obviously. I did do a, let's see, a jumper on the RAM here from port, pin 2 to 3H pin 4. Let's hook this up and see if it works. Alright, we're ready to power it up. I actually already did this and I was filming. I thought I was filming and talking, but it wasn't. The camera wasn't on. And everything is working. So yeah, the freeze dip switch is what was keeping the screen frozen, and it was constantly activated, and that's why it wouldn't get past that initial test screen, is because of that dip switch, which is kind of wacky. We'll go into test mode real quick, just show that it's working. We can do, activate a couple of dip switches. See, we change it to rank E, turn on dip switch 4. There we go. Rank 8 there. Bonuses, coinage, all the dip switches work. Sounds work. So all the sounds work. I don't know why this one doesn't make the weird noise. Maybe it's this capacitor here. On that other board, maybe this capacitor is bad. It's hard for me to tell, or maybe the chip's bad, or something else is causing some interference. I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, this is an earlier board version, as we mentioned. This particular board had to replace the socket, clean the legs of this PAL right here, I think, and replace the resistor packs up there. I think only the one was bad, but the other ones, excuse me, damn, kind of came out funky, or that, a couple legs fell off when I was pulling them out anyway, so, and it was hard to kind of get in there without replacing them both. So that's it. Dell, Jeff, 3 boards fixed, 3 Super Pac-Mans. One still has the sound is a little wacky, and I don't know what it is, and I don't have a picofarad capacitor for it. So, but other than that, the one thing I would mention is that don't, if you get that initial RAM error that we had on, I think on board 2, I think it was RAM 7 or something like that, that indicated 2D was bad. Troubleshoot the other parts first, because I jumped the gun and replaced 2D, and I probably didn't have to, unfortunately. So it was just the pin on this custom on that second board set, or maybe that was the first board set was just a pin on 4B. Oh gosh, now I'm getting confused. Whatever, you get the idea. 3 of them are fixed. All the video boards work fine. So, Alright guys, that's it. Super Pac-Man working. And I can't play with one hand, obviously. There we go. That's it, everybody. Cheers.